Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the Mindset Check podcast. I'm your host, Misha McKittrick. This is a podcast where we believe that as you take time for a mindset check, you have more power than you think you do. And where we also believe that believing that life works out exactly as it should actually helps it to work out precisely as it should. We're going to jump into that today. Before we do, I want to tell you about an author that I, over the years, have really enjoyed his work. So there was a book I read first. The author's name is Mark Sullivan. The first book that I read of his, I read years ago. It's called Beneath a Scarlet Sky. The second book I read of his is The Last Green Valley. And the book that I'm reading now is called All the Glimmering Stars. I'm telling you, these are incredible reads. They're completely entertaining. They're historical fiction, so you are also dipping in your toe of widening your eyes to things that have happened in the great big world. But the thing that I love the most about Mark Sullivan is that in his characters, he plants the idea that the way that they believe actually has, an incredible outcome on their life. Like he really plants maybe the idea of someone envisioning their freedom or their escape. Or he plants in, the contrast between a parent really being optimistic and full of life and being admired and loved, and another parent being, more kind of nervous and fearful of what is out there in the world. And the contrast that you see as you are reading the book, it just plants enough ideas of hope and resilience and this crazy beautiful idea that we talk about all the time on the podcast, that we actually can create our life by the way that we think about our life, by the way that we envision our life, by the vibration that we hold as we go through life. And so I've really completely enjoyed his books and highly recommend them to you. All right, today we are going to have a really great conversation about going through life with a certain knowing and a certain energy that life really is going to work out. This episode is an invitation to let go of the struggle and to step into trust in life, right? To be able to step into a different space when it feels like an opportunity shuts down in our life, and how to continue to move through, when things like that feel pretty dang hard. I hope you love it. Let's jump into it. I have a memory of sitting in our car overlooking the city lights one night with my son. And he was going through a really tough breakup. And he was really sad. And I was holding space for his sadness and trying to help him see that there is always a bigger picture. And so I shared with him the Garth Brooks song, which he may have heard up to that point, but I don't know if he was truly familiar with it, but the song Unanswered Prayers. The song is so great, right? Because it brings perspective. It tells a story. How at a football game, he and his wife ran into the girl he thought would be his wife, right? When he was in high school. And it was just a moment for him to see that life worked out even better than what he had planned. And I was trying to teach that to my son. And I wanted to bring up this memory for you because, my son at the time was in high school. And I think a lot of us, we think of like when you've been out of high school for a while, you go, oh yeah, like what I thought I wanted in high school, I get it. Like it's really different. And when we look back on things like that, like how we are so glad that something didn't work out the way that we had hoped, then we can attribute that to the hard that we're in at the moment. Maybe something that isn't working out for us. We can look back and see, well, there was a time when I wanted something really bad. And it turned out that it felt at the time like a dead end road for me, but it did work out better than I would have planned, right? It didn't work out the way that I wanted. It worked out better. And I always kind of have this image in my mind when things don't go right, either for me or if I'm helping a friend or a client or someone just walk through life. And it seems like the door that they loved is completely slammed inside of their, right at their face. And I love the imagery of the belief that that door was the one door at the end of a really long hallway. And that's what we believe until we turn around and notice that we are actually in a room full of other doors, and all of those doors are open. But as long as we sit in front of the door that's closed in our face, we don't see that. And I love that imagery to help us see how our thoughts block us from seeing potentially what is even better for us. And I am 100% on the fence of, as long as you actually need to sit in front of that door, that's okay. Because the time that you spend in front of the door helps you process. It helps you feel the feelings. You know, a lot of times when a door closes in front of our face, we really are dealing with grief and loss. And, you know, you could probably list your own feelings associated with whatever it is when that door closed. And that is a huge part of what we need to do, to process, to go through when a door closes. And taking adequate time to be able to do that is really important. And sometimes, you know, if we're really going to stretch the metaphor, we turn around and begin to see that there's other options. And then we still have feelings that we need to process as we are moving towards the other options. And that's okay. That's okay. The problem truly becomes when we will not turn around and we want to stay in the belief that our whole life is forever crushed, forever ruined. We will never know another door. We will only know the feelings of a closed door in front of our face. And another really, really incredible gift and thing that we can do when we are, you know, up against that door, when that door is right up against our nose, is that we can truly allow ourselves to see the way that life is going wrong so that we can see the way we want life to go. That's called contrast. And sometimes we have to have really big doors closed in front of our face before we decide, I want something different. No matter what it is. Job stuff, financial stuff, you know, the way that you float through and have relationships with people through life. Sometimes we need life to go wrong to illuminate how we want it to go. Because sometimes it's not until we get so disgusted with something. I hope you have fully felt what I'm talking about. That you go, I'm done and I need a different way. I need to be shown something different. And the moment you start reaching for it, that's when you start turning around. That's when your vision starts to go, I'm in a room and there's doors everywhere. And there's so many more options. So on this podcast, I really hope that you truly fully walk away knowing that you can lean into the trust that there is a better option for you whenever doors are closed in front of your face, or when doors are closed in front of the faces of people that you love, and what you can do in the meantime. Simply because there is an incredible amount of science surrounding that what we believe we create, that what we focus on grows. And a huge part of that is knowing the way that scientifically, the way that negative beliefs actually block all of the opportunities that are better than what we're sitting in to come to us. Remember that we are like magnets, and we have the opportunity to be a magnet that attracts or a magnet that repels. And whatever side of the magnet that's charged with the attraction is what we are experiencing, feeling. And we will bring more of that into our life. So I want to talk to you for just a minute about doing the next right thing. And this is something that we can do in the meantime, right? In the meantime of us really trying to pick up pieces or figure out what to do or what direction we're supposed to go. Sometimes we can feel so lost until we just take action. And power shows up in the moments that you are willing to listen to your heart and then to act. We have to leave the past in the past. You have to let go of the way that you thought life would be to be able to operate and enjoy life as it is now. Okay, that's called living in the present. That's called walking away from it. And then leaning into that trust brings so much incredible stuff into your life. But it's the actions that we take that help bring clarity from moment to moment. Because you can feel stuck and you can stay in one place forever, or you can turn around and take one step. And that step, you start to see a little bit more. Maybe you can peek into the doors that you can lean from side to side and say, oh my gosh, what's over there? And the more that you take a step, the more that you can kind of see. And maybe you decide, oh my gosh, I'm going to take a step in the other direction, and I'm going to take a step, and then I'm going to see a little bit more. And then, right, like we learn the more action that we take. More is illuminated for us, the more actions that we take. And I'm a huge believer in this, whether a door has been slammed in your face or if you're just living, your normal life. That doing the next right thing, whatever's planted in your heart to do, whatever you feel like would serve you today, that brings the next right thing and the next right thing and the next right thing. And sometimes the really big things that we think we want in our life can't be in our life until we take some small steps towards those things. And so starting somewhere, right? Committing to the idea that I'm not going to stay stagnant, that I'm not going to stay where I'm at. That when I choose to listen and to do what I feel like I'm called to do in my heart, that is a step. And if you take a moment and sit with yourself and decide what's being dropped into your heart from moment to moment, from day to day, that's when you see more and you know and understand the actions that are right for you. And each time you take a step, those things are illuminated more and more. And if you continually say, I'm signing up, I'm going to sign up to do what was dropped into my heart today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And I really believe that that is the number one way to find access to what is available to you, to find access to you truly living in purpose and finding what is really intended for your life and being able to be at peace while you're on that journey. Just to be in a state where you say, I don't know what's coming, but I trust it. I don't know what's coming, but I'm excited for it. Martin Luther King said, faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. And so really knowing that the next step might be the only thing that you can see in front of you. And that's okay. I met a woman in yoga this week that I was so impressed with. She was asking me about, how do you do that? Like after the yoga class was over, she was asking me, how do you do that pose? And she kind of wanted me to walk her through what I could show her, right? And she started to tell me her story about how she's kind of new to yoga and how much she had just been, recently coming kind of in the past year, and how she has become a little more, advanced as she has continued to progress in her yoga practice. And I was so proud of her. And she shared with me that she had lost 100 pounds, like really recently. I don't remember if she had said just in the last year. I don't really remember. But she had lost 100 pounds all in the like a short period of time, for whatever that is, for losing that much weight. And my jaw was on the ground. Here she is standing in front of me in a sports bra and leggings. And she looks fit. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, wow. Like, really, I'm just so impressed and in awe. And I'm like, what started you on that journey? And she said, well, I guess it started with me wanting to get sober. And I just listened. And she said, I quit smoking. I quit drinking. And she said, I got to a point in my life where I knew that life could not continue the way that it was. I was hurting everyone in my life. And I knew I couldn't continue. And so I made a pact with myself. And I got sober. And I quit smoking. And the weight just started to drop. And so I kept up with it. And I decided to start incorporating healthy habits and replacing the bad with the good. Man, I was so impressed with her. And she told me a little bit more about her life and the way that things have changed and how incredible, what an incredible ride it has been, and the difference, like the reality that she's living right now versus the reality she used to live. And I'm sharing that story with you to help you see that woman took one step at a time. And she did the next right thing and the next right thing. And she did it over and over and over again. And the one thing that she opened to herself in that doing is she became ready for what was next in her life. Because we were talking about some different forms of therapy that she was doing, and then we started talking about heart coherence, and we started talking about all these different avenues. Avenues that she would not have even been able to process potentially in her previous year. But because she started taking smaller steps, the bigger things started opening to her. I love the quote by Rumi, and I use it all the time. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. My friend, we are all students, and we become ready with each step that we take. And so I like to think of the meantime as just being willing to know what we need to do. Become more in tune with what that is, each moment, each action. And the more we listen, the more the action becomes illuminated for us. There's a parable of the Chinese bamboo tree. And a farmer, whenever he plants this Chinese bamboo, he nurtures it diligently, he waters it, he fertilizes the ground, and he diligently takes care of it. For the first year, no green shoots appear above the soil. The second year, the farmer continues to water and fertilize, but nothing emerges. By the third and fourth years, there's still no sign of growth, though the farmer persists. In the fifth year, a small shoot finally sprouts from the ground. Then in just 5 weeks, the bamboo tree grows 90 feet tall. In the fifth year, 90 feet tall in 5 weeks. What the farmer always knew is that the plant was growing deep, strong roots. And that those first 5 years felt unrewarding. But he knew that his unseen labor was essential to the tree's later success, rapid success. And a lot of times life is like that. Our life is like that. Our efforts require sometimes long periods of unseen preparation before we actually blossom. And I really love pondering the energy that we are in, because that farmer knew. That farmer was aware of what was going to happen with this bamboo tree. After the first year, he didn't stress and he didn't give up. And after the second year, he didn't stress and he didn't give up. He stayed in the energy of knowing that if he continues to nurture, he knew what the outcome would be. And I think a lot of times we get overwhelmed and we try to rush, and we are in energy that actually isn't helping us to be in trust. We push the good away from us because we are forgetting to be content and peaceful on our journey. And sure, there's going to be, a bit of a roller coaster ride, and there's things to process along the way. And there's, times where we experience that contrast that is complete disgust so that we can turn a corner. But the point is, the more that we can be in good energy in our life, the more we can lean into the idea that life really is always working out for us. It's like the seasons. We can't rush spring. It comes when the time is right. We don't rush the sunrise. It happens when it's supposed to happen. There's a song that's literally called Trust Your Timing, and I recommend to go listen to it. It's by Fearless Soul. I literally love it so much. And the words say, trust your timing. Find joy in today. Let go of how you thought life would be. Trust your timing. And the whole song, that's just the chorus. The whole song is just talking about days that come and go and seasons that make you grow and life surprising you and helping you heal your wounds and to take another step. It is just a really good one. So go look that one up. But the message is, let go of the way that we thought life would be so that it can be the way that it should be. I think trusting the timing of your life really means having faith that events will unfold for your highest good at the right moment, even if it's not according to your own personal schedule or expectations. That when we embrace being patient and trust and, leaning into the process of life, we can let go of the need to control everything. And when we can let go of that need, we actually make room for surprise and delight. When we let go just a little bit, life can work in magical ways. We can get in our own way when we try to control everything. So I'm all for creating your life, designing it how you want, putting it out there, and then let go of your attachment and be able to be in it. Just be in it and enjoy the absolute delight that is brought to you when you can approach kind of living in the flow, right? There's a quote by Adil Ahmed that says, if you pay attention to the patterns of your life, you'll realize everything always works out. Everything always takes you to a greater destination. You always grow, and the things you think you can't survive, you somehow divinely make it through. That's life. Always remember that. And I love how that quote brings up for me, there was no need to sit in that stressful feeling. There wasn't any need to sit in the overwhelm of thinking of life should be a certain way or shouldn't be a certain way, or living from the past or the future. Really getting in tune with the present and being able to settle in and let life work out exactly as it should. I am of a very high opinion that our job is to hold our vibration. Our job is to be committed to learning and growing and taking the next right step. And that when we do that, life works out. And even when it doesn't look like it's working out, it works out. Lao Tzu said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." Joyce Meyer said, "Patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting." Your time will come. Just do the work and the results will handle themselves. My friend, I hope it helps you to look back at your life, to the times when life didn't work out the way that you thought that it should, and see that life works out better so that you can adapt a belief that life really is always working out for me. When I get a funky haircut, and some girl totally makes what seems like a wild mistake, it actually is working out for me. Total update on that, by the way. I really have been having so much fun with my hair because I have been needing to accommodate and do some things differently. And it's causing me to kind of come out of my normal routines or ruts, really, with my hair. And I was actually looking at my hair the other day. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, our last episode, I told a story about this woman who thought she was using thinning shears, and she chopped my hair really short in one section. It was a moment. It was for sure a moment. But the other day I was doing my hair and I was like, actually, you know what? It lays so much better on this side than it does on the other side when you take a little weight out from underneath. And I thought, oh my gosh, I actually wonder if this woman, by her mistake, is onto something. So take a moment to let something be possible that you didn't think was going to be possible, or that you thought was a total mess up or a screw up of some kind, and let it work out for your good. Lean into beliefs that serve you and take you to the next right step. Life is so much more simple than we make it. And I hope that through that you can see that you have more power than you think you do. I hope you love that episode. I hope that it brought out a little bit of something about trusting your timing, taking the next right step, and truly sitting in a place where you're letting life surprise you. If this podcast was helpful for you in your life, if it boosted you or brought a little bit of light into your life, I would love if you would share it with a friend. The virality rate of something really is just one person sharing it with one person. So it helps the podcast so much. Also, remember to make sure that you are subscribed to the Mindset Check podcast and rate and review while you're there, because that also helps the podcast get ahead. I want to leave you with a quote before we go. This quote is by the Dalai Lama, and he says, "Sometimes not getting what you want is a wonderful stroke of luck." Until next time, my friend.